It's one, and then there's two, and there is the third member of this motley crew of uncanny gentlemen, the League of Uncanny Gentlemen that are somewhat extraordinary. Welcome to your Thursday night romp through the uncanny wilds and the uncanny wilderness that you all love. Welcome to your uncanny earth. First off, I'm your host, Robert Solomon, and with me is the dreaded one, the one who is dreaded. Oh, I flipped it. Flipped a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, you know him as Spider. He doesn't look like he's got a fresh cut, though. It looks like he needs a fresh cut. Need a fresh cut and shave, sir.
I did take care of that. I did. I was getting unruly.
You were getting there.
The top parts were getting up into my nose, and it's problematic.
That's when it becomes
and
a
you
problem.
old too, so like when you get old, like that happens.
Yeah.
And of course, the one we keep downstairs, locked in the basement, down
Boiler
here.
room.
The boiler room boy. We calling him this week the boiler room boy.
Yep.
We've got Steven, the intern. Hello, Steven, the intern. How are you today, good sir?
I'm okay.
All right. And of course, in chat, we always have the wonderful James Boggs. Gentlemen, we talked last week about Helltown, a.k.a. Boston, a.k.a. Peninsula, a.k.a. spooky season is upon us, so now we can get spooky. So I was talking to a buddy of mine yesterday. Your boy was talking about some haunted things, and I feel like we as a show, we haven't jumped the shark yet, so we're good. We're good. We haven't jumped the shark. We haven't had to rebrand, right? We haven't had to do any of that.
By which we would keep the same name and do almost the exact same thing, but just tell everybody it's different.
Yes. But what we did do is I want to get back to basics of what we all loved. When we first started doing this kind of stuff, and we really were paranormal guys. First and foremost, before we were anything else, I really kind of started this off with the paranormal blast, if you will. But before we jump into what we're talking about tonight, because I do want to get into this, it's going to be a good show. I'm looking forward to this. Steven, my man, I want to talk to you about something. Right. I think you should do a series. Maybe like if you want to put under the interns oddities. I mess up words. We have problems. I think you should do the Sun Wukong thing with that.
All right.
I think you should take it on that take them on the ride.
Maybe start like what do you think about starting a philosophy type series? Maybe.
You know, I'd be down for that. You know, I'd 100% be down for that. If we could all get in on it and discuss it.
Yeah.
You know, Uncanny Philosophers Club.
That'd be fun.
The UPC, if you will. We can debate moral high grounds against each other. Yeah. We can be like, hey, is the death penalty a good thing? Is taking the trash out on Friday better than taking the trash out on Monday?
Ooh, I like that. Debate night. Uncanny debate night. There we go.
I'd be down for that. I'd be down for a good old debate session. Me and Spider get into some healthy debates. Yeah. That's the thing, though. You gotta. So the one thing I've learned about debating friends, one of them leprechauns.
Don't play Magic the Gathering when you get into a debate.
Do not play Magic, especially with this blue plan MF. But I did beat him.
Some of those. I take some of those seriously, and if we get hung up on a rule, I'm done.
Yeah. I had to kind of whoop on him with my red deck because he's blue.
Yeah.
If you don't get red out there, because red has so many instants that a blue player just doesn't have enough time to stack the mana needed to counterattack. Because red,
if I get a drop, I'm taking the ocean
tonight on this Uncanny Magic the Gathering.
You don't let him get you don't even let him look at the water. He goes to look, you're like fireball. Bow. He's like, okay, look at the ocean. Anyways, we're getting off topic. We can have that discussion another time. But yes, I'd be down for that. But anyways, so I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and we were discussing Helltown, and he kind of lives over by there. So there's a metro park that runs right through it, basically. They tore a lot of the town down because it just, a lot of it got dilapidated over the years. But the church is still there. There's a barn. There is supposedly a slaughterhouse that they don't really slaughter animals, but somebody doesn't know whatever that is for. And there's a couple other things. The church, though, is very interesting because it has upside down crosses. However, from some things I've read, some people think that it's a Mother of Sorrows church where there are some of the upside down crosses inside the I haven't been there yet.
That's the style. That's supposedly the style of the architecture, and that it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be more reflective of Saint Peter and being like in despair rather than being satanic and as appropriated by supposed satanic folks.
Well, another interesting part of this too is that there is a giant chemical landfill area. The Krej, what would you call it? Landfill or dump, really.
Yeah.
And supposedly that bred one of the biggest pythons ever to exist. It's like a Resident Evil python.
Oh no.
Resident Evil python level. Yeah.
No,
supposedly.
no.
That's what they say.
Supposedly. Like nobody's ever seen it.
So basically it's the size of a car.
I don't think anybody that's ever seen it would live to see it.
Definitely not.
You die. That snake strikes fast. That is a super fast, super striking snake of epic proportions. Hello, Apple. Welcome. Forgot to show James's. There we go.
You're gonna call Sir Mex a lot about that anaconda.
Yeah, because they don't want none. They don't want none. But yeah, so there's supposedly a giant python there. There's been ritual murders on the property.
Oh wow.
Mass sacrifices, all kinds of interesting urban myths and tales. And suppose there's the cops watch that place like a hawk. There's a lot of police there.
Maybe a lot of people try to break in, maybe.
I think because people will do that. They'll be like, "Oh my gosh, it's a haunted location. Let's all go there." Trash the place.
In the little town nearby, the town of Stanford, they have signs on a lot of the roads where the new houses are, where people are living now. That they've got neighborhood watch and things like that, and they get people coming to look for the town a lot. So they got their eyes open because they're used to people being there, and they're easy to say, "Oh yeah, these are new people," So. And there were a couple times where people kind of drove by slow when I was out there, or kind of parked for a minute with their lights on just to see what we were up to. Which is what freaked out one of the members of the team, because he was freaked out by everything. But nobody accosted us or stopped us or did anything because we weren't breaking in. We weren't, but they will probably keep a close eye on you because they know it's an attraction.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, the cops will arrest you for trespassing if you're not careful.
Yeah, we didn't go anywhere with the trespassing signs because that's just, for one, it's good manners, and for another, they will get you, especially small towns like that.
Oh yeah, did you get to see the church?
We saw a church that looked spooky. That was in one of the pictures that I found online, but it wasn't the church. It was just another church that was. Probably had some stories. It had a broken window. It was boarded up, and there were signs there that said private property, no trespassing. So we couldn't get any closer to really look at it.
Legally.
Now, I'm not saying that any of you should go in there and do anything illegal, right? But if you do,
we're also not trying to tell you what to do.
Right. But if you do, we are not liable for whatever happens to you. Now, another interesting aspect of Helltown is what they would refer to as the Helltown Witch. Now, the Helltown Witch is a popular urban legend of sorts, and it involves a wealthy land baron that was just amassing land. But as long as the witch did what he wanted to do, he basically let it go and didn't take her land. But when she got fed up, he said, okay. He ended up taking her to the middle of town, stripping her, and basically tying her to the back of a wagon, dragged her, and drowned her because they saw that she had scars on her back. She was laughing the whole time, as many stories of witches do. And so she said, I'll be back. The lightning will strike my grave. I'll be back. So some years later, this gentleman, the lightning does strike that area, that grave, and he is up from a bad dream, a dream where the witch killed him. So he goes into his barn to talk to his goat, because for some reason that's the thing.
Because that's what you do.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
When you've had a nightmare, you go talk to your goat.
Yeah.
So he talks to the goat, and then he looks at it, and when it looks at him, it's got the eyes of the witch. And so he dies of a heart attack. Now, Helltown itself began as Boston, and it was just a regular town. It was one of the oldest towns in Summit County. One of the oldest in Summit County. But because of Gerald Ford's conservation efforts during his presidency, they tried to expand the Cuyahoga Valley National Park System, tried to expand. Well, it did to a point. They tore the houses down, gave people the money, basically eminent domain, gave people the money, but they didn't do anything with it. And so they had to sell back the property. Where are you going to live? I mean, you put a tent there. Yeah. That's about it. Because those people didn't have that kind of money to build up a whole new house. So a lot of them didn't return. A lot of them probably just took the money and did whatever. And so that adds more to the mystique of everything. There's a couple other people who died of heart attacks regarding those that were involved in the land forfeiture. And so a lot plays into that narrative. But there's a lot of goats. People there's a lot of goats, and there's no farms with goats. Now, is the witch part of this goat thing? I don't know. There's cameras around set up, of course. It's just a whole lot of really cool history that I would love to go visit. At some point, I probably will go visit, but I would be taking people with me. I'm not going to go by myself. I'm not a dingus. You're always going to be strong. There's strength in numbers. So, and then if the cops are like, hey, and I'll be like, hey, and then I'll be like, what's that?
I'll be the dingus sacrifice.
You can't be the dingus sacrifice. We need you. We need you for other.
To go with?
we need you for other dingus sacrifices. Sorry, not this one. We got bigger plans for you, dingus sacrifice. We got bigger plans for you. It's Scotland for you. We got to take you to a European country and sacrifice you there so we could appease the blood gods. Actually, we need to go to South America.
No, I've already been to
sacrifice you.
Thank you, though.
We need to sacrifice you to Quetzalcoatl or the feathered serpent. Either or, we can just sacrifice you to one or the other. The gods will come back, they'll favor us, and then we'll become gods ourselves. That's the whole part and parcel to everything.
Yeah.
But we need a dingus sacrifice, and since you have opted to be the dingus sacrifice.
But what if the gods favor me instead?
Then we're the dingus sacrifices. Oh no, that would suck. But be some. Oh yeah, we'd be fighting. We're not gonna go out. We're not gonna go out like no bums. I'm hit Quetzalcoatl right under his big old jaw, just bow, and then he just eats me. It's fine. Everything's fine. Anyways, getting off topic. It's a very interesting take on how the government basically comes in and just takes whatever they want and is legally allowed to do so via eminent domain, and how people feel. And the thing about it is, and like Spider said, there are people that will watch you going through there. Because if you're not from here, what are you doing here? I get that. You live in a small town like that. I mean, when we lived in small towns, lived in a small town, it's the exact same thing. What are you doing here? There's nothing here for you. There's no big giant business. And I'm sure a couple other people in chat, they live in small towns. I'm sure the same basic concept. Though some people that live in small towns have attractions that draw people in. So there is a reason to go to that small town. But small towns like mine, there wasn't any. Well, there is now, but there wasn't before when I was there.
Anyway. Speaking of people who live in small towns, yes. I just was reminded of something, and I want to have an uncanny shout out to a Mr. Andrew Smith, who recently had
a baby. Yeah, he had a baby.
His family had another baby recently, and on the one hand, congratulations. On the other hand, you have my sincere condolences.
Yeah, because you ain't finna sleep. Good luck.
Because one was enough for me, one's enough for him. He's got what? He's got what? 2 or 3 now?
I thought it was 2. I think this is
2. This is his second for me. Maybe. I
think it's his second. Yeah, I think this is like. But I know he has a daughter. I know he has a daughter.
Here's a slowish clap, so that you can take that as either sympathy or congratulations, as you see fit, Mr. Andrew Smith of the Flatwoods Monster Museum.
Go visit there. It's really cool. I've been there many times. I've interviewed him many times. I think I've interviewed him like 3 or 4 times.
He's a friend of the show, so I wanted to make sure I put that out there before I forgot.
If you guys haven't been down there, go down there. It's a cool museum. I'm going to plug myself in this and say that I'm related to the event.
Here we go again.
Yeah, I can trace my family lineage. I can trace my family lineage.
Here we go again.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, here we go again. GTA style, baby. But yeah, if you're down there, stop in, tell them those uncanny boys sent you, not him. Tell him they sent you, and maybe he'll give you a high five if he's there, and he doesn't look tired. He might be super tired. He had a baby and all.
Yeah.
So. Well, he didn't have a baby, but
he was there with he was part of the process.
He was part of the process, but he didn't have it. Didn't have it. So yes.
Here we go again.
Here we go again. Just drive the car, CJ.
All you had to do was follow the train.
You had one job, CJ. Sorry. I will go because that was one of my favorite PS2 games. But yeah, Giant Snake. I think that's one of the more interesting. So side note, because that's all this show is. We should just call this show Side Note at this point. I've been watching a lot of snake videos on YouTube. Don't know why. Don't ask. A lot of them. Like, I know about all kinds of cool cobras. Don't ask. Don't even know why I know these things. They just come up on my thing, and I watch it, and I'm intrigued by cobras. Cobras more so than anything else. They just look cool. They got their hoods. When the hoods raise up, they're and they're snake eaters.
What about
I did not know
this.
They eat other snakes. They eat like pythons.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they eat pythons, and they grow pretty big. They're pretty massive. A lot of them are in like Southeast Asian countries and India, like parts of India. So it's a really cool, like fascinating thing for me. It's my fix right now. So anyways, a python this massive, right? This massive. And I'm not saying it couldn't exist. There's a lot of interesting things that go on there, a lot of weird things. There's a bridge over there too. And people would go down and have fires and, do this, that, whatever. And there's witchcraft symbols and everything else, but that's part and parcel to places like that. We've seen witchcraft stuff on our journeys. You're going to have that in any location that's supposedly haunted. But, so down there, these people were camping, they were having a fire, and something attacked them. Well, came out that it was bears, but the report wasn't consistent with how a bear would attack. So, suppose there's an underground military base there as well that might run. One of the presidents was able to go through a mine shaft because they have those all over the United States. So when presidents come into town, they don't have to drive on the expressways and stuff.
Yeah, like a connector and like a privacy thing, and also like a temporary bunker, not like the bunker, like the famous one. Because there's like a famous bunker in the mountains somewhere.
What you think about West Virginia, where the Greenbrier is?
Possibly, yeah,
because that's the hotel that takes the governor, and like it was connected to the White House for a hot minute too. But I think they don't use it that much anymore.
They have another one, I think, now, but they used to have that one. Was the one you go to in nuclear war?
Yeah,
you would go down there, and it was like a 12-level bunker or something ridiculous, like with housing for families and anybody connected with government.
Basically, like your Secretary of State, your Secretary of this, that, and the third, your treasurers, all that.
And there's smaller ones scattered throughout the United States for little stopovers and things, or just to get out and whatnot. So,
and so all these places, but Helltown supposedly has all of this. Now we got to weed through fact and fiction, and we have to make our own educated guesses because nobody knows. I haven't been there. I tried to go there about 10 years ago, and I couldn't find it. I could not find it. I tried to go, and this was before they demolished a lot of the stuff, so I would have seen everything. But I couldn't find it. So, but they found it. They found the remnants because now once the parks came in and stuff, that was basically it. But there's still some remains and there's still some stuff there, and they have a little festival every year, I believe. If they still have it, I know they had it like a few years back. So, but yes. Helltown. It's a plan. It's on the destination, the Uncanny destination. So
I would definitely like to go again.
Oh yeah, with respect to the place, we don't cause trouble, but I would definitely like to see this mutant python. 100%. I might not come back. It might eat me.
Even just the canal, the way it's overgrown, because it's different looking than the one in Canal Fulton. Because Canal Fulton, they upkeep parts of it for historical reasons and whatnot. But here, it's just kind of there. It's overgrown. It's spooky. They got a couple of things to make it like, okay, here it is. Don't fall in. But beyond that, it's a bit of a different experience.
Did you guys go at night?
Yeah, it was pitch black.
Oof.
Yeah,
How
we
many
had
of
to
you
use
went?
phone cameras and stuff. The entire group ended up being 5 of us, but only 2 of us actually went and did any sort of like investigating of the canal first, and then I was the only person who walked down End of the World Road.
Yeah.
Before we got to the end, and then since nobody else wanted to do anything else, I was like, all right, we'll come back. But yeah, I saw that far, so we were only at the borders.
So how come nobody went further? I know you wanted to go further. I know you were all about that action. I know you was about that action.
Well, I mean, the one dude, I think he was like, his was getting contagious among a couple of the other people, and then his wife, I think, was just annoyed with him because she was there with him, and she was just irritated by that point. So
why did she want to go further into it?
He'd been telling her he wanted to do it. He organized the whole thing, and she was like, "You've been trying to do this for weeks. That's what we're here for." And he's like, "Well, no, I don't want to do it." So that's a dramatization, of course.
Yeah, that's no actors were harmed in the making of this.
But yeah, if I didn't have to provide a ride for one other person, I would have probably just kept on going for a little while, all by myself in the middle of the night. But then you'd probably like be finding my phone in the middle of a field and be like, "These are his last videos. He's eating a sandwich."
Then we'd have to like go
with
find
cheese.
You. We'd have to go find you, and it would just turn into some found footage type of stuff. Just found film footage.
And that'd be legit, though. For some strange reason, his sandwich would have cheese on it.
Despite the fact that I did not pack any cheese.
Yeah. That's the really uncanny part.
And mustard.
Yep.
I didn't pack any mustard either.
There you go. It's a government conspiracy.
Yep.
How deep do you want to know? I want to know all of it.
I want to know about all the baloney and the pastrami.
You're talking a lot of baloney right now.
Yes, we are.
So yes, Boston, aka Helltown, aka Peninsula, that is on the list of places. All right, gentlemen, what do you got for me?
Well, I'll keep it local still because I went around and did a quick look at what's just here in my area of Stark County, and a couple of these I know the places, but I didn't know that they had haunted histories.
Mm-hmm.
One of which is the Massillon Public Library. Now, I didn't know, but there's a bunch of stories apparently of employees who've gotten chills, who've smelled unfamiliar perfumes, heard footsteps. Somebody apparently was pushed once. I guess they have a regular thing that happens on a security camera that it catches an elevator that travels to the 3rd floor at 3 a.m. on a regular basis. And it gets there, and you see a bright light, and then that's it. And they've had it on tape multiple times with no explanation as to why. And that's kind of cool.
I'm gonna go there at 3 a.m. and sit in the elevator and see if it takes me up to the 3rd floor.
Yeah, so and that's just something that's super nearby. That's probably not even 10 minutes away, to be honest. And it's something I didn't know about.
Same.
And I don't have a lot of details on it yet because it's a normal public library. It's open to the public and everything. So I think at some point we got to head out there and have a talk with some people who work there and see if we can arrange a, if not an overnight, just some kind of time where we can wander around in areas maybe you usually aren't allowed to wander around in and do some interviews and stuff.
I'd be down for that.
We also can check out the grounds around Molly Stark. Because you can't get in the building, I guess, because it's condemned, falling apart. It's overgrown. But I didn't realize that you could still go just walk around outside because it's a park. It's a Stark park. And so you can go basically anywhere around there within reason around the building. And there's supposed to be a lot of stuff that happened there. Now, Molly Stark, for anybody who doesn't know, it was a tuberculosis hospital. And it was shut down. Well, it stopped operating as a tuberculosis hospital in the 1950s because that's when we started to get a handle on tuberculosis in this country. And they later used it after that as a facility for treatment of drug and alcohol addictions, and also for mentally disabled patients and it wasn't a full sanitarium or a sanatorium, but it had like a little bit of overflow from some of the other hospitals in the area. So it was mostly dealt with addictions and things. But they shut that down in '95, and they say there's a lot of stories like mists and elevators opening. I guess the building still has power sometimes. They might go in and maybe do some maintenance on parts of it. I don't know why they haven't just taken it down yet, but it didn't have those details in my reading. But those are just two on a list, which also includes the Canton Palace Theater, which you've been to, and I've been to, and we heard stories about there the last time we were there.
Yeah.
So that's also on the list as well.
Okay. I love what you're talking about right now. I love it. You love to see it.
All right, I got the Hermitage over here in Nashville, Tennessee. I was thinking I might see if I could check that out. I've heard that some people have seen a doll and they say it was sitting upright, but when they went to tell the staff that, like, good job on setting that doll up like that, the staff, well, they didn't set the doll up like that. And I've heard some people say they can see Andrew Jackson walking around in the gardens sometimes. So that sounded interesting. And other than that, the Bell Witch in Adams, Tennessee sounded pretty interesting. And that's about an hour or two away. And I was initially told that they had stopped doing tours because it was so dangerous. But I also got an update on that. And apparently they're doing tours again. But I'm still on my learner's permit. So I'm kind of limited to wherever Uber is willing to take me right now.
Well, that'd be well, it's the cave, so they would probably let you go into the cave. Don't take any rocks with you.
Yeah.
I've heard bad things happen to people that take the rocks.
Yeah, so I'd have to find someone willing to take me up there first. Yeah. That's going to be my main problem.
Listen, if we can get down there, we would do it. Get a whole big group, an entourage, if you will.
That'd be awesome,
folks. Because I would love to start doing some more explorations. That's my that's the
I definitely think it would be fun. I'm just not sure how well I'm going to be able to do the travel.
Well, listen, just keep working hard.
I am 30 years old and just now on my learner's permit for driving.
Everybody gets their license when they get their license. I can't knock anybody. I got mine when I was 18, but I wanted to drive so damn bad. So bad. And listen, it's a skill that'll stay with you for the rest of your life. So good on you. Just
a lot more
keep working towards it.
It's one of those things where it's like they say, oh yeah, it's like riding a bike. Once you know, you never forget. And it kind of is true, because I taught myself how to drive. I didn't have anybody else to teach me. And the only thing previously to that I'd driven on was a riding lawnmower.
Yeah.
And you would be surprised how similar they are at the very basics, that if you can pick up one and apply it to the other and understand, well, this is a much larger vehicle, I got to do a lot more of this and that.
A lot of people don't believe me, and they think I'm just being silly, and they say I'm being crazy and say it's impossible. But I swear, I learned to drive from video games. Within 2 hours of real life driving experience, I was already going 50 miles per hour, feeling comfortable with it.
Well, that's not always a good thing, but I mean,
no, not like dangerously, but like, going on roads like GTA, designed to be 50 miles per hour.
I can go 0 to 60 in 3.5. Yeah.
No, I can't.
Watch out, Grandma.
Our car struggles to get above 40.
Oh.
I've had cars like that, though.
Yeah.
But one last thing too, before I forget, not to interrupt your spiel there, but also here in Canton, right behind the McKinley Monument. So it's basically not the McKinley, nuclear.
I know, James.
Right behind the monument, which I can walk there from here.
Do it.
Is the grave of Frankenstein.
Oh yeah, I've seen this.
Oh wow,
the grave of Frankenstein. It's a true gravestone.
Yeah.
The legend supposedly is that there was an unusually large man who was being held in the interment vault, and then he was buried alive. It doesn't say why. I'm sure there's somebody who knows the full story, but it says at night you can hear him scratching and screaming to be let out. Now, if that was a common thing, because it's right down the way from me, I think I'd hear it more often, so that's probably overblown now. But it's easy to find. Like you can go back there, you can walk up to it. It's a big stone with the big name on it. It's not overgrown. It's not like it's some
nice.
Go
like
there after the
lost
show.
Civil War grave.
Go.
Take the camera with you. Go now.
Go now. Come on.
Yeah.
We'll keep the show on. Go now. Come on. What are you scared?
Theoretically, I could probably get there and back right before the show ends if I walk.
No. You take us with
Take the camera.
Take the camera. I want you to walk with them headphones on. I want you to walk to that damn stone. I want you to be like, listen, guys, what's up?
He's gonna need a really
boy.
long extension cord.
No, then you'd watch me get mugged, and I'd have to fight somebody, and that wouldn't be. That might be entertaining for some
people.
Would
go world
then
star.
I'd be tired, and then I'd be grouchy.
But we would laugh. I'm not gonna lie. We'd have a chuckle. Because you better win. You can't come back to the Uncanny Network if you lose.
I ain't gonna lose to somebody around here who's gonna mug me, but I just don't want to go through having to be mugged.
Yeah, but it's for the show. Sometimes you got to make sacrifices.
Yeah, some people like Mug's root beer.
Just get in the car and drive. You'll be fine. A couple of drinks give you courage. But
it is down there, the Frankenstein grave.
Sherry Brake took a picture of it and had it in her Haunted Stark County book. That we still have. We raffled that off to one Mike Hornacky, and he never
workaholic.
So we just kept it. It stays in our vault for now until we see him. So there it is. Yeah, the workaholic himself, man. Come hang out with your boy. Stop goofing. I don't know. He ain't goofing, working, but I get it. But yeah, there's another spot that we're going to go to in Wayne County where there is a River Styx and a tale of a train, a phantom train. I love phantom trains. I'm a phantom train guy.
Like Kingdom Hearts.
Don't ever say that on the show ever again. Don't ruin
the
show.
I mentioned it intentionally.
Don't you dare ever ruin this show.
He's exposing the business.
Don't expose the business. We will break your kneecaps, and it will be uncannily. No, but ghost trains, I'm very enthralled by ghost trains. Basically, I have some theories on what ghost trains are. And one of my favorite theories is it is a train that is in a parallel universe, and whatever they are using revolves around something that causes a slip space rupture, where for a brief moment, you see a train slip into our reality, if but for a brief moment. So you're going to hear the sounds, you're going to see it, all that, right? But it's not going to be, it's going to be very ethereal. You're not going to be able to see it like you would see a regular train, because whatever it is using, be it nuclear power, being it dark matter, whatever they're using in that timeline or in that space, whatever they're using is causing the burn off or the exhaust or whatever you want to call it, right? When that happens, it's very split second like. So when that happens, when that burn off happens, the train materializes into our world. Split second. But not even split second, like good, like maybe 15, 20 seconds. Then disappears again because is burned off that, and it keeps going. But anyways, that's just one of my favorite theories. But to get back on track, get back on track.
Unlike the ghost trains.
Yeah, those don't always. That's why they're ghost trains. Anyways, there's a gentleman that was driving a locomotive, and there's a interesting phenomenon with certain people where they know the day they're going to die. They just feel it. They know that it's coming, and he knew it. So there's another car coming, and he's on the track. So he takes it, basically pops it in reverse, and tries to go back. Well, as he's doing it, the car slips and starts going off the rails. His car ends up exploding. He dies, right? But in Wayne County, there's a place. I'm not gonna tell you guys yet because we're gonna go there first. But it's in Wayne County. I kind of have an idea where it is. I'm kind of familiar with the area, so we'll have to go down there. But the train itself supposedly shows up late at night, and it's loud. And they interviewed a gentleman about it, and he said he knew it wasn't a regular train because the horn sounded different. It didn't sound like a regular train horn. It sounded very haunting. So, and that could be a plethora of things. That could be a nearby train track, but it's one of my favorite, I guess, tropes. I don't know if you really apply tropes to this, but the Phantom Train, big fan of the Phantom Train aspect. Between there and going to the Mound in Marietta. So in Marietta, Ohio, there's an Indian burial mound, and I need to get
mound.
That's in Athens County. That's a different place.
Oh, okay, all right. I thought you were talking about the one.
I've
Lots
been
of
to
mounds.
I've been to the Great Serpent Mound. I was there 10 years ago. No, probably 12 years ago. But yeah, I went to that. That was cool. Climb up top of this rigging that they have, and you can see the whole thing. I'd definitely like to go back though. And with the information that I have now, that I've amassed over the years, it would be a different vibe. It'd be a different vibe check, if you will. But yeah, the Mound in Marietta is probably going to be like on my next stop here. Hopefully soon. We'll see. But I want to get down there to see that because I'm into mounds. Because mounds house giant skeletons, and I am into gelatin. Giants, not gelatin. I don't know why I said gelatin. I have no idea why I said gelatin.
There's a band in
the
Pennsylvania
candy.
called Gelatin Skeleton.
I was thinking of
So
the
it's weird that
candy
you
mounds.
connected those things together.
Yeah, pretty is weird, isn't it? Gelatin skeleton. Yeah, so that's the goal. More mounds this year, this fall. I would love to get for the gelatin. That's that's why I want to go to the mountains for all that tasty skeleton gelatin. Break the bones, the gelatin marrow's inside. We're gonna eat good tonight. So that's the goal. I want to go to Moundsville soon. Love to go to Moundsville. That's also on the itinerary.
The penitentiary.
The penitentiary. I almost said penitentiary. It's not even a
Nuclear
word.
penitentiary.
I thought that was Spider's
McKinley. I can't even do it again.
McKinley.
I don't know. I can't mispronounce it now.
Yeah, you messed up. Now you're just gonna pronounce it regular.
I know.
Nuclear. All right, John. What else do you have for me? What else do you have for me?
Japan in general. There you go.
Listen.
You can't really drive to Japan.
We gotta go to Akigahara.
Aokigahara Forest would be fire.
Yes.
Respectfully.
We gotta get our passports.
Respectfully.
We're not gonna pull what that dude did.
No videos.
Yeah.
Very disrespectful.
We're not gonna do anything like that. And that's a
just like
word
go
of advice
visit and then talk about it. I feel like
a word of advice to anybody who's going to any of these sites or any similar sites is to always, always, always be respectful. Even if you have like a goofy time and everybody gets a little silly and whatever, don't disrespect the location. Don't disrespect what may actually be living there, whether it's alive or whether it's paranormal or whatever. Just try to have a little bit of respect. Don't go there and be like kids at spring break and just whatever. It's
don't be like Americans in Japan.
So another place I want to go to is in Oregon. And I've always wanted to go to Oregon, but there is a place called the Temple of the Oculus Anubis.
I think we've talked about it on the show before, haven't we? It sounds really familiar.
Because it's something new that I've never heard of. Huh. Anyways, like some of the pictures are really interesting because there's like doors. And so the whole thing is the owner used to run an eye care practice, right? So he was a doctor of sorts, but he was busted for fraud. And when he passed, the charges fell unto his son. And they claimed that the son was severely abused while others just saw him as a business partner. The money gained through the fraud was used to build tunnels and a mansion on the property. The mansion has mostly been torn down. It was never finished, but it would have an incredible view and was intended for the sun. Now, this is something I briefly learned about. So for me, this was like something that was really cool, and I was really excited to look more into it, which I will, because I'm always I'm always interested in different locations that have a sort of a sad and solemn history behind them. I think that creates more paranormal activity.
Like cemeteries and battlefields?
I think battlefields, yes. Cemeteries, no.
Those are a bit cliche, I feel like.
I think so. And I think everybody goes to cemeteries and they're like,
Yeah.
It's gonna go here, and we're gonna see a ghosty. We did. We went to a cemetery. We went to an old cemetery. Met some people that were geocaching. Yeah,
Oh
it was
wow.
a wild thing. It was a wild time. That was a wild day. That's when we went to the what was it called? What was the
We went
place
to the
in
Black
Massillon?
Plague
The
subdivision.
Black Plague subdivision. Yeah, we got to see the original
That
street.
was really interesting because even though
That
we
was.
didn't see a lot of what it used to be, we met
Yeah.
several people who had good stories.
Yeah.
And we actually felt kind of some weird vibes there.
Yeah.
It's one of the few places we've been where it was something like definite, like, oh yeah, something feels kind of
Yeah.
different here.
That and the Rogues Hollow incident.
Mhm.
Yeah. That was a wild time. That was different. That's the only time I've ever felt like that. I've never felt like that since. Because we went back and it just didn't feel the same. But the stacked rocks were weird. The whatever was watching us in the woods was weird. The claw marks on the trees that didn't necessarily look like bear marks, that was weird. The ritualistic white magic that they were doing on the tree stumps, weird. It was a whole it was just a day.
Yeah,
It was a
because
day
we
of
did most of that
oddities.
all in the. Didn't we go to the canals that same day?
We
Was
went
that
to we went to that Pioneer Cemetery. We went
Yeah.
there. We went to the Black Plague subdivision. We drove around forever to try to find that other cemetery that neither of us could find.
Did we have breakfast at the Century House?
No, we ate at
That was a
Draven
different day.
Scott's. We ate at
Oh,
Draven
Draven Scott's.
Scott's.
You're right. Yeah.
Steak was fantastic, by the
Yeah.
way. Wonder if they're still there. Yeah, no, the Sister Century House. We just went there to eat. I don't know what
You
we
went
did
back
there.
for an interview.
I did. Yeah, that's when I had the
and
long
they
hair.
showed you parts
The
of
basement.
the where the tunnel was boarded off, or not boarded off, but closed off. So
bricked up. Yeah. That was the thing. Like, that's another place I want to get into again, but I need to go talk to them because it's like life happens. Things happen. And you just gotta kind of roll with it. But that's on the list, and we got some. I think we'll start having some cool things coming up. Even if you can just go to a couple small places and do some stuff, go to small places.
I heard there's an old Nashville cemetery around here that's actually from the 1800s, and it was not segregated, which they said was very unique for cemeteries.
Yeah, because usually they were.
Yeah.
Back then, I would go to Lake, or was it Lakewood?
I don't know
With
that
the angel. With the angel. The angel looks like it's crying black tears.
Ooh, that sounds like fun.
That's up in Cleveland, actually. Let me see here. I think it's Lakewood.
No, a good thing too is now especially you've got like phone apps that you can take to places.
Yeah.
Such as the spirit tracker or the various like temperature sensors and things
Ghost
like that.
tube and things.
You can take things wherever you go now. And even if you find stuff that's kind of like, oh, well, this doesn't really say anything definitive, it can at least enhance.
Interesting.
Yeah, it can enhance the experience a little bit, and it can give you an idea of that potentially something could be happening in the area. And that's something that I plan to do on any trips like this, is to make sure my phone's charged, ready to go. I've got the app ready, and we just can set it someplace where it's quiet, where it's not a lot of activity going on, and just wait and see if it says anything. And then if it says anything pertinent to what's going on at the area or its history.
Did you pull anything from the Pink House?
No, the audio was never great. Because I put it down there, and the water thing or whatever it was kicked on and stayed on, and it ended up being all white noise the entire time.
You'd have to enhance the sound to hear underneath the white noise.
Yeah, even then, like I couldn't get anything out of it myself. I tried to do a lot of different audio restoration techniques, and if I tried to take out too much of the noise, it took out the majority of the actual audio. So I don't know if there was anything worth catching there or not. And it could have been on purpose. It could have been something in the house was like, oh, you're going to check for noise? Oh, here's this. Have some noise. And that was it. So I don't want to jump to conclusions, of course.
That'd be me. That'd be me as a ghost.
Here's the noise you didn't want, but too bad it's here.
Because we did have like the power flicker a couple times there.
Yeah, we did.
Like right at like weird times when
Yeah.
Sherry was mentioning certain things.
Yeah, because we interviewed her at the actual place.
Oh, I got one I wanted to know more about. Where was it that you guys were at when you were with Les O'Dell and he just like fell asleep?
Oh,
Oh
the
yeah,
El
the elk.
Paso. Yeah, he straight
Yes.
fell asleep. Dude, he went to the Haymond house, which is like up the street from there, and like stayed overnight and was just sleeping like a baby. Like this is
Such
a
a badass.
3-story house, bro.
He said he heard something too, and he rolled over, and like nothing else happened, and he went back to sleep. Like
How? Like if I hear something, bro, I'm up for the night. I
I'm
Yeah.
gonna
might go
get up and go
outside.
check it out. I'm gonna walk
Gotta check
around
it
and
out.
look, and
Yeah.
he was just
What
like,
was
nah.
that?
He heard something, nothing else came of it. He went to sleep. So
We will never not have respect for that dude because
yeah,
he's always about that action. He fell asleep. He's just up there like, I'm like, what are you doing? He was
I
out.
love it.
That boy was gone. That was a good time. That was yeah. That was one of the few times, and it was only for a brief window when all that happened. Like all the stuff that happened there was for a brief window, and then it never happened again. Ever.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It was cool though.
because
It
we
was
went
cool.
twice, and the
Yeah.
first time we had all this stuff happen,
Yep.
and then the second time we didn't. So
Nothing. And we were upstairs where it was dark because it's pitch black. There's only like a probably like 20%. No, I wouldn't even say 20%. I would say like 40% of that place has legitimate power. But once you go to the third floor, there's no power that runs up there, so it's just pitch black. And we went up there in pitch black and just chilled, and there
And
was
took a nap.
nothing. No, I can't take no naps at the places that got my anxiety ramped up to 30. You know, I can't. Nah, because it's not the ghosts that scare me. It's what if there's a Denzian just chilling, waiting to murder me. Jerk. No, but it was cool. That was a good one. I've been to a couple of places. I've been to the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. That was very interesting. And I've been to the Mansfield Reformatory. I want to go to Waverly. Waverly's the only one I haven't been to yet. And I've heard
Waverly
people say
Hills?
it's amazing. Yeah, Waverly Hills in
Oh,
Kentucky.
I've heard that's like
Yeah.
one of the most haunted places in all of America.
That's what I've heard too. But I got to see it to believe it. You got to show me. I'm the show me state. You got to show me.
They used it in an episode of Supernatural to make the biggest spirit bomb of all time.
Oh, I didn't know. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah,
Yep.
that's where Zach Baggins and them went. Man,
Oh yeah.
I used to listen when they first came out. It was solid. I was watching the heck out of that show. I liked it.
now
I'm
he
not gonna
goes to
lie.
like Trans-Allegheny and he gets possessed on the regular, and he goes and tries to fight his camera people.
He rips off his tap out shirt and just begins. I want to go to his
Zach
museum.
Baggins,
Yeah, Zach Baggins. Yeah, hot dog. Yeah, I want to go to his museum. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I would go to his museum.
That would be worth going to because he does have a lot of
100%.
stuff there. As much as,
he does.
regardless of how I feel about him being an entertainer more than an investigator these days,
That's how he makes his money.
He does have all these things. He's got the chair.
Yeah.
He's got the various dolls.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, I would still go and see that stuff.
And then go to Florida and see Robert the doll. Ask if you can take pictures of it.
Yep.
Let me ask you guys a question. Would you ask if you could take his picture, or would you just take it?
I don't know. I'd have to decide once I got there.
Yeah, it would depend on the mood and how much whiskey we have.
Listen, I'm somewhat ballsy, but my issue is maybe that's not an issue, but maybe because I've already heard it, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the chair. Like they say, if you sit in the chair, then you're going to die soon. And I'm like, I don't know. That instantly makes me be like, okay, I'll sit in the chair then. Let's see about that.
Yeah, our luck, you'd end up dying, and then I'd be like, well, this is to.
I would take it as a challenge. Like, can I survive it?
Here's the thing, though. Like, my brain doesn't work like that. So, like, all like the what I've already heard, I'm gonna be like, no.
Oh no! When all three of us get together, me and Spider are gonna overpower you and make you do something stupid.
No, because see, that's the thing is like
We're gonna trick you.
if it's done against your will, you're the one who suffers, not the person because you tricked.
It comes back at you. What is it? Threefold or sevenfold?
Yeah, threefold. Threefold.
But no, let me rephrase that. We're not gonna trick you. We're gonna convince you that it's a good idea.
You can't. You can't because once again, you're the dingus sacrifice.
Yeah.
To bring it full circle in the episode here, and the dingus sacrifice, you're the one sitting in the chair.
Ah, yes.
To go back to what I said earlier, though, it is still be respectful. Like if it's something where the thing is, if you ask permission from something, you're fine. If you don't, then you're not. Then that's kind of one of those respectful things where you have to decide.
And it's very simple to do.
If you want to be respectful towards something that might not exist, or if you want to just tempt it and be like, no, it doesn't exist, so I don't need to have respect for it. And then, you're taking things into your own hands. And it could be absolutely nothing. It could just be something that once it gets in your head and you believe it, it causes something to happen. It gives you an aneurysm, or it gives you stress, or it gives you whatever. And it was really nothing to begin with. But, if you're respectful, you'll think about it when you get there to these places, and you'll just be like, you know what? I respect that people feel a certain way about this thing. And that's something to consider.
I agree. I think it's just, I don't know. Like I said, there might, and we don't know if people have went there and done it and still lived. That's the thing is like,
you only hear the stories of the people that went bad. You don't hear the stories of the people that went good because that don't bring in the tourism. But regardless, respect is still important.
Yeah, I agree. Well, everybody, that's about it for us tonight. I want to thank my fabulous co-host Spider and Steven, aka the intern, for joining me on another episode of This Uncanny Earth. Next week, we're going to be talking about some really interesting stuff involving some mystery cults. So you're not going to miss that. You're not going to want to miss any of our episodes. You can check those out at youtube.com/@ThisUncannyEarth. If you have a story to tell us, by all means, please email us at thisuncanniearth@gmail.com. Please send us all your amazing things. And I have something cool that happened to me, but I can't tell you guys. I can't tell you yet, but I will later. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. That's it for Spider, and that's it for Steven the intern. We will see you guys next week. And as always, thank you to all the listeners and the folks that listen later, and thanks to everybody for helping us get to where we're getting. Please follow, please like, please comment, please subscribe, please do all you can. Let people know who we are and what we're about. And as always, we will see you folks next week. So why be boring when you can be uncanny? Have a good night, everybody. Peace.